What's up agents, Epic Slayers here, welcome back to a brand new Division video. So with the announcement of the Division 2, I thought I'd do a 25 changes or additions that I'd like to see in the Division 2. So if you enjoy this one, drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and let's do this. Alright agents, so I've kind of got a list that I'm going to go through and I'll expand on points that I feel I need to, and obviously others I won't. So the first one is cover shooter or not, or MMO or cover shooter. So basically at the moment with the Division, it's kind of a bit of a shooter, an MMO, and when it is a shooter, it isn't really sure whether it's a cover shooter or not. I think the Division 2 really needs to make a decision on whether it's an MMO or, you know, it's a shooter, and if it is a shooter, then is it a cover shooter or not? Is it a cover-based shooter or not? Because that identity is a bit of a problem with the Division currently. Location, I want to see a new location. I still want it to be in the United States, actually, but just a new location, somewhere where you could have some, you know, sort of wildlife. So I'm not sure where the Everglades is in America, but somewhere like that might be quite cool. More realistic bullet physics. So, for example, if I shoot an NPC in the leg, then I'd like him to limp. If I shoot him in the arm, maybe he can't use that arm and he has to use a different arm to use his weapon. Something like that. Just a bit more realism when it comes to damage to NPCs and to players as well. Maybe not so much to players, but certainly to NPCs. I would like to see more lore in the Division, because I don't think there's enough in the Division currently. So in the Division 2, more lore would be really cool. I'd like them to tune down the RNG just a tad. I enjoy RNG. But for someone like me who has, you know, 100 days plus on this game, who doesn't even have a completed striker set, I've played 2 global events yet. The RNG is a little bit crazy, so maybe just tone that down a little bit, and I guarantee you people will stay more with that. I think there needs to be some sort of better crafting system. So maybe, for example, it should be more surrounding sort of blueprints, like you have to collect sort of components for blueprints, and that way you can craft them, and obviously as you level up then you get better blueprints. It requires more resources, and just that sort of grind surrounding the crafting would be a lot nicer. Moving on, we've got class system maybe. So I'd like to see some little class system in the Division 2, maybe not like Call of Duty, but for example if you invest in a class and you obviously build that class up, then you get the perks of that class. So a little bit like Call of Duty, to be fair. And then obviously if you want to invest in a different class and so on and so forth. A clan system would be a really cool idea. I'd love to have sort of some clan system, and like Destiny 2, sort of clan rewards or something like that, for example. So for people who can't do the hardest content, at least if they are in a clan and they do it, then they're going to get some, you know, rewards from that. I think that would be a cool idea. Guys have to let me know what you think. One great idea that I thought would be, in respect to like the open world, it'd be nice to sort of go to areas and neutralize that area. So, for example, where the virus is spread, you've gone in there, you've cleared out all the Rikers or whatever, you've neutralized it. But every so often, those factions either come together or on their own, and they attack that area, and you need to get there. You have a time to get there, and you've got to basically get rid of them, otherwise they take back over that area, and then you have to do either the mission again or a different mission around that area. I think that would be a cool idea. Again, I'm just spitballing here. Definitely 100% a better inventory UI, because at the moment the inventory UI absolutely sucks. One of the worst I've ever seen in any game, and for a game with so much loot and gear and diversity, the inventory system absolutely sucks. So they really need to master that in the Division 2. Stealth. Now I wrote this one down because I think that'd be really cool. Maybe have it sort of like, you know, dark and flashlights, and you know, you turn off your flashlight, you can stealth kill people with, you know, stuff like that, almost like Metal Gear Solid sort of situation, or like Wildlands, Ghost Recon Wildlands, for example. I think stealth in the Division 2 would be a really cool idea, and with that, stuff like traps, for example. So like, you know, if you know an enemy is going to walk somewhere, you can place a trap, and you know that they're going to be that's going to, you know, hurt them or kill them, whatever the case may be. I think that again, that will be really cool. I think what they need is an app to manage inventory, a lot like the Destiny item tracker, somewhat where if we are going to be getting as much loot as we've got in the Division 2, which I'm sure we are, then there needs to be some sort of way for us to manage that inventory outside of playing the game, because I know people will really appreciate that. I think better character creation is important. I think there just needs to be more options. At the moment, the character sort of creation, there's not really that much there, so it'd be nice to see more options in that respect. Moving on, anti-cheat. We definitely need a really strict anti-cheat as well, might I say, because one of the main reasons why the Division died so quickly was, especially on PC, there were so many people hacking and cheating, and when they weren't found out, I mean, you know, they kind of got a slap on the wrist, and it's just, there needs to be some form of better anti-cheat, mainly on PC. It's not so bad on console, to be fair, but mainly on PC. But there needs to be some sort of anti-cheat, and it needs to be really strict. At the end of the day, if you cheat, we don't want you playing our game. You are banned. I think that's just, they need to be that strict. I've got no time for cheaters. Moving on, we've got better servers and netcode. Of course, this game at the moment, The Division, has suffered with tremendous lag and bugs, and that was another point. We need to reduce the bugs as much as possible. So lag and netcode, and it's just been, even until now, the lag and netcode is so bad that that's one of the reasons why I wanted there to be a Division 2, so that they could actually improve that stuff, so that we don't get it in the Division 2. So that needs to be looked at massively. One of the things in the Division 2 that I really, really want to see is a skill gap, because the Division, when it first came out, there was a kind of a skill gap, but as the updates have gone on and on, it's become a lot more casual, and the skill gap is pretty much not there anymore. It's all about the gear. That's pretty much what it's about at the moment. But I would like to see some in the Division 2, which, you know, rewarded you for good aim. Why is it that I can do, you know, I can shoot someone in the body and do almost as much damage as I shoot someone in the head? It makes no sense. So I think they need to look into that. There needs to be some sort of skill gap in the Division 2. However that's achieved, I don't mind, but there needs to be a skill gap, definitely. One major point is bullet sponge enemies. So one of the main reasons why people left the Division, apart from hacking, was the bullet sponge that NPCs could obviously take. I think they need to take that away, and what they need to do is reduce the health of all the NPCs, but include more enemies. So more enemies, less health. That's what I think it needs to be, because at the moment, it takes, people are put off by the idea of having to shoot a man, basically, in some sort of outfit a million times before he'll die. And I get it. It doesn't personally bother me, but I think for the sake of the Division and other people, I think people would much rather have a game where there's more enemies with less health than, you know, less enemies that are complete bullet sponges. Moving on, so we got remove 100% accuracy and range from NPCs. So one of the main problems with this game, and still to this day, is that shotgunners can map you. Pretty much. The NPCs have got such crazy aim and accuracy, accuracy and range, it's unbelievable. You can't compete actually with those NPCs, and it doesn't make sense when they've got no gear, they're using a pistol or a shotgun from, you know, 500 meters, and yet they're battering you. You can't even hit them because your weapon doesn't reach that. You don't have the range on your weapon to do that, and you're probably using a high-powered assault rifle. It doesn't really make any sense. So they need to adjust that to make it more realistic, because it just isn't realistic at the moment. Now, the next point is separate PvE and PvP. One of the main issues with this game, again, is that because PvE and PvP are not separate in respect to, obviously, gear and updates and stuff, when you update something in PvP, it affects PvE. When you update something in PvE, it affects PvP. You're never going to get a balance. So there needs to be a way of, for example, either you have gear sets that are only for PvE, and then have gear sets that are only for PvP, and that way you can just balance the two. That might work. I'm not entirely sure how they would do it, but there needs to be a way to sort of separate those as much as possible, so that you can work on one and it won't affect the other one. So yeah, that's what I think. That needs to happen. Definitely needs to happen in the Division 2. Moving on, we've got weapon variety. For example, we could have rocket launchers, we could have grenade launchers. You know, there's loads of weapons out there. And the problem with the Division at the moment is there's really only a couple of weapons that you're going to want to use. So they need to balance the weapons as well. If they're going to have weapons in there, they need to be balanced. I mean, look, for example, I know Destiny 2, you know, is dead. Destiny 2's dead. Yeah, I get it. But Destiny 2 weapon balance is pretty good, actually. I mean, apart from the odd Anti-OD and Uriel's Gift, you can use pretty much any weapon and do well. I know I personally can, but you look at the Division, you know, you got the SA assault rifle, or you've got something like the MP7 in 1.8, for example. I mean, you're never going to use those weapons because there's absolutely no point. You're going to get melted. There's no reason to use them. So there needs to be more weapon variety, and there needs to be, I don't mind if there's more weapon variety but less weapons, as long as they're actually balanced. That's what I want. I want balanced weapons. Someone mentioned vehicles in Division 2. Now, I don't mean tanks or possibly a car, but I don't mean tanks and cars and stuff, but, you know, like a motorcycle or something like that, because the chances are it's going to be in a city. If there's someone like the Everglades, then you might want to have a little boat or something. I don't know, but vehicles I think would be really, really cool. I think that would add a lot to the game, where it wouldn't remove from the sort of, what's the word, from like the scene. For example, when you go through the New York City and you're running through it, it just feels so massive and you're kind of taking it in. But like me, yeah, I mean, that's great, but that wears off. So, I would like to have a vehicle to allow me to get from place to place. And actually, that's one reason, that would be another reason for me to explore the city. Because at the moment on the Division, the reason I don't explore the city too much is because it requires so much running. If I had a vehicle, like a motorcycle that could get me around, I would definitely do it. And I think that would add to, for example, if you need to go to places to get lore, it just makes all of that more accessible. So I think vehicles is actually really a good idea, but not tanks and over-the-top stuff. Definitely not. So then we got the last two that I'm going to put on this list. Again, I've got a lot more, but I only wanted to do 25 because I don't want this video to go on for 25 hours. So, fix healing delays. Oh my god. So this game has had a healing delay since day one and it's still not been fixed. I actually remember at one point where they put an update out. I can't remember where it was. They put an update out and I remember the delay wasn't there. And I was like, oh my god, what am I still playing the Division right now? There's no delay. And then they changed some and it came back. So they need to fix the healing delay because the healing delay is one of the most frustrating things in the game, especially in PvP. PvE is not so bad, but actually in PvE it's very annoying when you're playing like incursions. But PvP, it is so annoying when you press your heal and the animation takes 2 or 3 seconds. By that time you are dead. So it doesn't make any sense. And that's the same for like med kits. Just actions in general, doing stuff just takes far too long, and they need to remove that delay and allow it to be instant. Lastly, and this has become a real problem recently, is they need to find a way to fix Cronus Max, get around the whole, using a controller to allow you to, spam shotguns with Striker and ruin everyone's day. I don't know how they do that or how they would do that. I don't even know if they can do that. But if they can, they need to invest as much time as possible to fixing that. Because I can tell you what, if that's still in the game when the Division comes out, it will diminish very quickly, along with all of these points. Let's not stress. Cronus Max mixed with heal delays, mixed with anti-cheat, mixed with, deciding on what identity you are, like cover shooter, MMO, and all that sort of stuff. All of this stuff together is what will make the Division 2 better. And there is a lot more that I can add to this list. So there you go. Hopefully you did enjoy this. That was 25 sort of additions and changes I'd like to see in the Division 2. I'm sure that you guys have a lot more as well. So I will be doing sort of a top 5 or top 10. So leave your comments in the description below because there's probably a lot of points that you guys have made that I've not even thought about. So leave them in the comment section below and I will be doing a top 5 or top 10 video which I'll be doing shortly. So there you go. Thanks for all your time today. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like. It really does help me out. Until the next one, Epic out.